Hey everyone, it's Blake from BrickStands here with our first ever long-form LEGO review here on our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow us on our other socials. We have TikTok and we also have Instagram for more updates and LEGO reviews and content similar to this. This set includes 282 pieces and 3 minifigures, as you can see down here. And many people are very excited for the first time ever for any LEGO set to have the Kaminoan minifigure, Tan Wee. I remember seeing this character as a LEGO playable character in the LEGO Star Wars when I was a kid, and I'm honestly really surprised and also not surprised that it took so long to get this minifigure, because at one point it's like, well, why don't we have the figure? But at the same time, there was never really a set that made sense, and honestly, I wouldn't even say this set makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, I guess this set sort of, the box art does show Kamino, but there's a lot of features that kind of hint to the scenes on Geonosis. But either way, it's a really awesome minifigure, and I know it's something that people have been asking for a very long time. And it's got a brand new molded head, so people are very, very excited. Next up, we have the LEGO Obi-Wan Kenobi figure, which I actually really like the look of this character. I like how his print sort of goes from the torso all the way down to the feet. I feel like with a lot of these prints lately, it just seems a little bit kind of faded. I don't really know. Like, I feel like these brights could be brighter. I don't know if that's just a manufacturing sort of feature or what. The back kind of leaves a bit to be desired. And there, as you can see, is the hoodie. It looks nice. This is kind of the new hood piece, which I think looks a lot better than the older one, just because it doesn't have the chin strap. And then, of course, who could forget the set would not be complete without R4P17 here. It looks good. It looks like every other astromech. Mine's got a bit of a little mishap on the chin, but I feel like that's just so common for these droids. I don't think I've ever gotten one that doesn't have a weirdly printed dome. Like on the back, you can kind of see it's warped, but for all intents and purposes, you don't really notice it too much. Now looking at the set itself, despite the glaring kind of most criticized issue, which is this strange looking nose, I really like this set quite a lot. I mean, it's only $30, and I feel like, from this angle, it admittedly does look really bad. This, coupled with the kind of straight 90-degree here, looks quite bad. But I mean, when you've got it either displaying or when you kind of look at it from above, basically when you see it from an angle like this, like it is on the box, you just don't notice it. And I think that there's a lot in this set, design-wise and look-wise, that kind of goes underappreciated. Firstly, it's kind of a warning. There are a lot of stickers on this set, especially for a $30 set. I was just surprised at how many there were. I mean, there's sort of the one on the nose, you've got 2 here on the side, you've got the ones here on the fin, got one logo on the other side. And for people who don't like stickers, this is probably going to be upsetting for you, but for me, once they are all on the set, I think it really brings it together. I mean, the greens right here, they all kind of connect down the wing, and then you've got some on the back. It's just a really nice accent. I love all these little lines that kind of break up the typical flow of Legos. It just makes it feel a little bit more like a display model in a sense. You know, you've got a little bit of green there on the nose, and without these decals, and they really are decals, they're really high quality stickers, it would just feel way more empty. Even these little ones on the side, it's like, people love to complain about stickers, but I just feel like it makes it look so nice. And I'm kind of a sucker for the color palette, and I know this is a lot of Lucasfilm's doing, but I also think LEGO did a great job converting it sort of into this set. I love the high contrast, super dark red, and then it's kind of contrasted against this bright white, and it's accented with this neon sort of green. I mean, this thing, when it's up on a shelf or displaying or whatever, it just looks sharp to me. The stud shooters are a bit aggressive, and I normally don't have an issue with the play features, even when I'm displaying my sets, and I kind of got used to it. But I remember while building, when it came time to add these puppies to the wings, it was like, oh god, they're decently noticeable, but they're just not, they're so not a big deal. I mean it's these ones especially, they just sit right on top of the set, so removing them, and that does look a lot better in my opinion for this set. I understand the set should totally have it. It's a big draw for kids to obviously be able to play with it, but if you're like me and you're looking to kind of put it up for display, it does look a bit sharper, and it's also nice because there's kind of a tile here, so it doesn't really lose detail. It's still got a little bit of differentiation in texture. Again, for designs, I really like the little fit on the back. It's nice that it's kind of double-sided, so they don't get the ugly underside like you get with some shuttle Lego sets. I just hate the undersides of these bricks. This kind of look is just terrible in my opinion, especially when you have one side that's like this, and if the other side wasn't like this, it would be very noticeable. But it's nice, it's kind of sturdily connected there, and the cockpit's also pretty nice. I mean, it's basic and simple, but it's got a little control panel there, and then a nice touch is the chair. It's got a little headrest, and I don't know why it makes me so happy to see that extra bit of effort, whereas opposed to it, this is what, this is kind of what's expected. But it just doesn't look as nice. It looks like Obi-Wan's gonna get whiplash, so I like the attention to detail. Gives a little bit of headrest, and it's just a nice look overall. And lastly, Lego also included simply the little radar dish that we see in the Geonosis scenes of episode 2. Get that on there. And it's just simply attached with that stud, so if you want to have it kind of on the ground and he's, you want to have a little diorama where he's on Geonosis, it's just a nice little touch. It's a nice little attention to detail, and I think it increases the design factor for some of the flaws that people have issues with. One other thing on the design, my glass piece, or the lid kind of dome piece, came with a scratch right on the left side, which is the side that you would display this or kind of look at this, because that's the side with the droid, which is just really unfortunate. I wish that they always sort of put these in their own kind of packaging to avoid that, but I guess it's less plastic, even though, I mean, I don't know how much of an impact that's really gonna make if you don't have one little baggie, but it's just unfortunate when you get something like this where a scratch it's just gonna kind of ruin the look. I mean, when you're looking at this thing, it's right over Obi-Wan's face. That's my one gripe. That's just kind of a one-off fluke for mine. I'm sure it's common though, but that's definitely something to look out for. And Lego's pretty good with sending free replacements for these kinds of pieces when they are scratched if it bothers you. But anyways, yes, that brings us to the playability. What are the functions for $30 set? I feel like this set is fine with playability. Like I mentioned earlier, it's got the 2 stud shooters on the front that some people love, some people hate. They work like every other stud shooter that, we come across. I don't know if it's really a playability feature, but it's a convenience feature for people who want to play or for storage. The nose is practical. I mean, you get to hide the sort of droid's body. I know a lot of the older Starfighters, this model, and then also the Interceptors, just didn't have this, and when I was a kid, I always had decapitated droids laying around because I wouldn't, want them to look like they do on the set, which is a nice feature. I feel like the functionality is definitely worth it for this set, so that you don't have to leave your minifigures laying around half complete, because otherwise it would be strange to just have the head on here. And then the underside is pretty basic. I mean, it's got 2 little hooks here, and you can sort of store Obi-Wan's lightsaber, which is always, I think, a must, because again, I've lost many lightsaber in my day when they don't have a place on the ship where you can kind of clip it into. It's just such an easy solution, and so I always love to see it right on the bottom. You don't even see it when you have the set kind of set down, but it's a good place to keep the lightsaber so that you don't lose it. The playability for this set, it's super basic. It's very, easy to hold. It's got a really nice build. These wings sort of, they don't have like joints or anything. It's just a simple Technic kind of solution. So the wings are incredibly like dense and durable. That's why it reminds me of Anakin's Interceptor from a couple years ago, because when I was building it, I just thought like, wow, this is I had older what are these, B-47s, whatever these ships are called. I had older Starfighters when I was younger, and they have come a long way in terms of structural integrity, because even like the booster engines, I mean, these things, it's simple stuff, but they're not gonna fall off with normal play. I mean, you're not really gonna hit it with your thumb. Okay, well, I stand corrected. Maybe it will fall off with a little bit of force, but in general, it's not gonna, the whole thing's not gonna crack off at the base, and you don't really have to worry about that too much. Actually, now that I look at it, there are a couple little things that are like this where if you're not careful, I mean, it's not super, it's not a super big deal, because I feel like you can easily hold it from here, but there are a couple other little bits down here that look really nice, but they do kind of knock off pretty easy. And now that I think of it, if you're playing around with this too much, I feel like these 3 bits here could pretty easily fall off, but it's Lego. I mean, they're meant to kind of come apart. So this set's super easy to get mounted up on one of our stands, one of our brick stands that we sell on our store. The link is in the bio and in the description of the video. These stands are great. They have official Technic sort of Lego pieces that you can add to your set. You can add Technic to it to make it really strong, or just use the studs if it's a light set like this. And the stands are also adjustable. There are 9 different positions that you can sort of angle it and then put the pin and lock it in. You can also flip this around, and so you can angle it both ways. I'll just sort of put that in like this. Nice and simple. So this set is really, really easy to mount. You just gotta flip it over, and then you can just remove the back, I guess, landing gear, I guess you could call it that. Put this landing gear up to make it look nice. Now, super simple, you basically just put it on the brick stand. I like to line up this sort of area with all these studs so that there's more connections and it's a bit stronger. But yeah, it's nice and simple. Just put it on right like that, and then boom, it's flying. So this is what I was mentioning earlier, where when it's kind of at an angle, I don't feel like the nose is as noticeable. And I think this looks really, really nice on a stand. Again, the color palette I think is great, and when it's kind of up and flying and a bit dynamic, it just makes it feel more premium to me. But yeah, it's super simple, super easy to put on a brick stand. You can order our stands from, like I said before, our link to our website's in the description and in the bio. So is this set worth it? What do I think? Personally, I think it is worth it if you like the look of this set, really, and you kind of want an easy set to pick up. It's an easy set for me to love, honestly. Again, I'm a kind of a sucker for the color palette there, but I don't know, for $30, it's just, you get a brand new minifigure. I mean, you get 3 minifigures, some play features, a nice little set. It's a sturdy build for the most part, and I just think that it's a pretty good value.